Hello and welcome back to Hubris, the highly unsolicited book review podcast for uninvested spouses.
Invested spouses.
Well,
You're here again, aren't you?
That's true. I keep trying to get out and they keep dragging me back. Hi everyone, my name is Mark.
I am Jess.
And we are married and we don't have a lot of free time. But we wanted to share with you some unsolicited book reviews from some 5-star reads Jess has found.
Oh, are we doing 5-star reads today?
Yeah, I looked. So we're looking at Jess's story graph. A little bit of background in case, for whatever reason, you're starting on our most recent episode of our podcast. Jess has read like over 200 books this year so far.
Like 220.
220 now. And so every time she finishes a book, she gives me a unsolicited book review, which I find to be very entertaining, as it usually happens when I'm in the middle of something else. So it's a great excuse for me to stop doing chores and have an engaging conversation with my wife about whatever book boyfriends she's been reading about recently.
Stop doom scrolling on your phone to listen to your wife.
Yes, exactly. Or stop getting the constant barrage of self-help and betterment investment advice from YouTube Shorts. I still maintain that YouTube Shorts is I'll never use TikTok. I'm a YouTube Shorts, I'm a Facebook Shorts kind of guy.
I actually have become a Facebook Shorts kind of girl too, so I can't talk too much.
There's so much parent content on Facebook Shorts.
I mean, if you go to TikTok, it'll understand your algorithm as well, but...
I don't want them to know it.
Okay. Anyways, let's get on to topic.
Yes, sorry. I'm a little scatterbrained because I literally I think my blood pressure's gone up like 40 points.
Trying to figure out the mics.
Yeah. We have we're using a digital mixer, a free digital mixer, because we have 2 USB microphones on the same computer, and they're good microphones, and we got it to work before, but I had to fiddle with it a little bit because when I went back to play some games, the input wasn't reading, so I had to turn it off, and when I turned it back on, it was like everything broke. Literally everything broke.
Broken. And actually, now that I think about it, we have not checked to make sure our sound waves are working properly.
That's true. I'm pulling up Audacity. We've got killer waves. They are loud. One of the bits of comment we had from some of our listeners last time was that we could be a little bit louder. So we are going to risk waking our child for you.
Our sick child, I should say.
That's true, yes.
She has a fever.
She was very upset today. Normally she's bouncing off the walls and wants to go absolutely nuts all day, every day. But today she only wanted snuggles. And to be honest, she really just wanted to snuggle mostly with you. She snuggled with me because she had to, because you weren't available at the time.
I took a nap today. It was great.
Yeah, but I took the day off because as soon as I saw that she had a high fever, I'm like, I'm not going to focus at work. Like, I just got to stay home.
It was great.
Give my sweet little bean a hug.
Nice snuggle family day. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so 5-star reads.
Yes, 5-star reads. I've seen these books. Every once in a while we'll go to like Kohl's or Chapters or something on occasion if we go to the mall, and we'll always walk into and see like those like recommended books, and I keep seeing these ones. So these are the books from Hannah Grace. These are Icebreaker and Wildfire from the Maple Hill series.
That was a good series.
Yeah. So.
And I actually usually, I think I've said this before, I'm not usually a contemporary romance girl, and I actually don't really like sports books at all. Like, I'm usually anti-sport. I'm anti-sport anime, even though Yuri on Ice was my favorite anime I was gonna
say, I don't know if that's necessarily true. You had a very deep... And we named our cats Victor and Yuri because of how much you loved Yuri on Ice.
Yes, so I'm anti-sport, but I like figure skating. So that is the glue. That is the glue that holds me to anything sports related. I have been into figure skating since I was really little. I thought it was really pretty. So this book is about a hockey player and a figure skater, which is why I was like, okay, I can get into the whole sports genre of contemporary, and honestly the focus is on figure skating. It's not really on hockey, so again, a win for me. And then the second book, there is no hockey and there's no figure skating. It's just 2 people who work together at a summer camp, so it was literally perfect. It was very light on the sports bit, which I find sometimes is not the case.
Listen, I can't fault you there. I don't think there's... I don't know if I would enjoy reading a book about hockey. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, hockey players. So, that like it's a whole culture in and of itself. Just like football has its own.
That's true. I'm not really a sports guy, though.
We're not sports people, no.
No, I'm not a sport ball.
We watch sports when the Olympics comes out.
Yes. Did you hear? So the Oilers did lose. We're gonna date the podcast here. The Oilers did lose to the Panthers in the Stanley Cup final.
I didn't even know the Stanley Cup final was going on.
It literally happened like yesterday, and it was tied 3-3 in Game 7. Their one chance to bring a Stanley Cup back to Canada in like 30 or 40 years. It's been almost 30 years, maybe 20 years since we've had a Stanley Cup in Canada, and they beefed it. So Florida won.
Florida won like the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, the Gator place, the place that's all sun, won the Stanley Cup.
They have to stay cool somehow. They can play hockey.
Good Lord. I don't even pay attention to sports, and that burns me. I'm like, come on, guys.
I don't even know the Oilers. Like you said, the Oilers.
Edmonton.
Like, oh, cool. Yeah. Didn't even know that.
Cool. Can you date like hockey? We're not getting into that. All right.
I'm not into sports. I've been out of anything sports related for a very long time. So I heard a lot of good things about this book. And again, when I say I heard a lot of good things, it doesn't mean it's the best book ever written. It means if you're going in looking for a romance, like a sports romance, you're gonna get, what you came for. It's some spice, it's some decent plot, some good characters, and by the end of it I was like, yeah, I do want to read the second, even though it follows a different couple, which again, I've mentioned before, not my thing. I don't usually like that, but I liked it in this case, and I will read the third book when it comes out, I think later this year.
Awesome. Oh, well, we're going to take a brief pause, listener, as our child is now screaming in her crib, and we will be right back after these short messages. Are you tired of sleeping? Do you find yourself with too much spare time? Or perhaps all of that disposable income is just burning a hole in your pocket? Might we recommend Adulting, or the bonus supplementary package, Parenthood, complete with sleepless nights. Mostly sleepless nights. The benefits of the package are a child, something that you then have to take care of and is very fragile. But the upward benefit is later on in life, they'll take care of you when you're in diapers. So maybe we can sell you on that deal.
He's selling people on a fake ad.
We now return to our regularly scheduled programming.
My God, how long are we into this recording so far? I feel
8 minutes with absolutely nothing to show for it.
I'm so sorry, everybody. Should we just start over?
Nope, we're just going to barrel onwards. So, a brief description provided by Storygraph. I have no idea if these are fan written or if these are provided by the author, but
there are AI generated, like if you're into this, summaries, and then there's the actual summary.
Okay.
On Storygraph.
So the summary on Storygraph is a figure skater and a hockey team captain are forced to share a rink. So Anastasia Allen is working to join Team USA as a figure skater. Everything's going to plan. She gets a full scholarship, lands a place on a competitive figure skating team. And the captain of the hockey team, Nate Hawkins, is trying to keep his team on the ice. So there's a facilities mishap and they're forced to share a rink. They can't stand each other. Enemies to lover, contemporary romance. But then Anastasia's skating partner has an uncertain future. And Nate might have to take his spot or her spot. Sparks are flying in this heated battle. Sorry, my brain then clicked into Pokemon Stadium as soon as I said sparks were flying. It just like something I couldn't stop myself. The words just came out. I apologize.
Yeah, so that's basically the plot of the book. It's a hockey player who actually can't get onto the ice for reasons, so he decides to help Anastasia, and so he trades his hockey skates for some figure skates, and they practice together because her partner ends up getting injured and she needs further help. And yeah, it's an interesting play on like the enemies kind of to lovers and rivals to lovers, I guess you can say too. Because hockey and figure skating in this book is posed as like almost opposites.
Okay. So what particularly did you like about this book?
I think one of the reasons why I liked it so much is because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. So when I read it from beginning to end, it was exactly what I wanted. It was cozy, it was smutty, but not too smutty. And you know, it had me smiling, it had me rooting for the main characters. When they were hurting, I was hurting. It was just a really good overall experience. And again, I wasn't expecting that much from it, so I feel like a lot of my 5-star reads end up being 5-star reads because I don't expect them to be that good. I go in expecting, you know, a decent book on any day that I pick up a book, but this one really surprised me, and I would totally reread it. I really liked even the side characters. That's another thing that I really liked about this series is you actually care about the other characters in the book.
So what other characters are we dealing with here? Are we doing like best friends? Like,
we're talking about like best friends of the figure skater. We're talking about the rest of the hockey team. So it's almost, I wouldn't say a found family feel, but kind of like that. Like they're very close friendships, and you learn to care about the other people. The side characters have personalities. They have histories that are brought up in the first book and continued into the second, and you know, no matter what, this group of friends is kind of always there for each other. So it was really, like I said, really cozy, really snuggly,
a good feel good read in an afternoon. And
absolutely.
Okay. And you mentioned smut, so by what level of picante are we talking here? How many habaneros on a scale of 5? 0 being this is a book that you could leave in a public library, and 5 being that it really should only be sold on the dark web.
Like a 2, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like a level a group of like a group of moms whose kids have left home and they're in a book club and somebody suggests this book and they're all fanning each other at the end of it.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, I was really stretching on that.
You were. I just go along with it.
All right, well, listen, it sounds good. Is there anything else about this book that you want to highlight? Anything that stood out to you? Like, do you want to give like your like one thing you loved about it, and one thing that you were like, maybe it could have been, you like want this better?
One thing that I found a little bit difficult to read about the book is it does focus a lot on Anastasia and her eating habits, specifically her skating partner. He basically, for whatever reason, decides to take over her nutrition and basically makes her eat way under what she needs as an athlete. And he's constantly talking about how he can't lift her because she's too heavy, and all these really negative comments about body image.
The guy who ends up dropping out?
Yeah, her original partner.
Oh, okay.
And he's supposed to be her best friend too. And he's just like a slime ball throughout. So that left kind of a sour taste in my mouth. But because the book was so cozy, so feel good, like almost without him as a character, there is no bad guy in this book, right? Like there's a negative situation that happens where Nate ends up not being on the team for a period of time and helping her out with figure skating, but that's almost a positive in this book. So even though it's a negative for Nate overall with his like hockey career, he still goes off and plays for the NHL. So like that, there's no bad guy other than the skating partner. So I can understand why the author included him. It was just a little bit difficult for me to read that. Not because necessarily that I have those issues, but it's just not a great thing to read about.
Right.
So that would be like the thing that I would say that I kind of didn't love about the book, but it's not a huge thing. And you can tell very obviously that, you know, it does get resolved. It does get brought up. But yeah, that was probably the thing that I didn't love about it. And then again, the thing that I really liked about it is that it was a sports book that did focus on like the technicalities of their sport and went into it a little bit, but it was also just like a cute little romance outside of it as well. So I really enjoyed it.
All right. So are there any closing words you have for that book before we move on to Wildfire?
I think, again, like, everybody has different opinions about books, and everybody has different trigger warnings. So if body image is something that you truly struggle with and have difficulties reading about, it is a pretty prominent point in the book. So if that bothers you, might be best to skip it.
That's the struggle that's being dealt with and worked through. Got it.
So it might be worth it for you to, for yourself, pick something else or go into it cautiously. But other than that, I think, honestly, anybody who kind of likes that cozy, smutty feel book, you'd love it.
Beautiful. Well, and I mean, the nice thing is if you've listened to this review, you now know that things work out. So that might also be something nice.
All of these books have happy endings.
Yes, that's a good thing. It's honestly, that's my whole thing with like media. It's like I want to be entertained, but I also want to, like, if you read a book, it's like rarely do you want to read a book where that's like doesn't have a resolution. Yeah. Unless you fully signed up for that.
Yeah, or like a huge twist plot at the end, like the anime we just watched. And
oh my god, yeah.
Like everything that you just watched ends up being erased because time travel.
Yeah, so we just watched an anime. Spoiler alert for
you don't even have to say what the anime is.
That's there was like 11 episodes of a 12 episode anime that told like a really nice love story, and then in episode 12, one of the characters goes back in time by accident, but then decides to change the past to save the person that they love from going through a really tragic event. But because he does that, they never meet in the future, and then he's erased. So then like he's like saved her from experiencing this terrible thing, but then he leaves her with the knowledge that she had a husband that loved her, and then now he doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of a dick. It was like really a shitty thing to do.
I know, it broke my heart. But anyways, I usually get into a book knowing that whatever difficulties is going to be, the big difficulty is probably going to happen in the last 25 to 10% of the book, and it's going to be resolved fairly quickly. I actually really detest it when they leave it to like the last few chapters, because it's like, come on guys, this is supposed to be the big thing that we're building up to, and we resolve it in 2 chapters. Like,
yeah, that's tough. But getting on to Wildfire. So Wildfire is book 2 in this series that's written by Hannah Grace, and this is just telling the story of Russ and Aurora, who basically had a one-night stand at a party, and then they bump into each other on the first day of a summer camp where they're both counselors. And then basically they're away, they're at the summer camp together, they're, probably have some drama with being, at a summer camp or unsupervised. But there's like a no staff fraternizing rule, so it's like they could get them kicked out. Ooh, so... that kind of the right vibe? And again, it's like a love story kind of thing.
Yeah, so she is from a wealthy family. She grew up with money. She grew up going to this summer camp every summer, and she felt like this summer camp was more, like Aurora felt like this summer camp was more home than her family life. She has a very difficult relationship with her father, kind of struggling relationship with her mother as well. So
I wonder if this person went to Muskoka Woods.
Honestly,
I feel like they probably went to Muskoka Woods at some point. It has like that
Muskoka Woods kind of feel, honestly. So it is a camp in the middle of the woods, and all of the she grew up with the camp counselors, and one of them in particular, she's the daughter of the owner of the camp, is now like her boss. Mm-hmm. But she was her camp counselor when she was younger, and they're like sisters almost. She really, really loves her, and she's really excited to spend the summer there, kind of giving back to the camp that gave so much to her. And
I'm just now thinking I'm on a mental trip back through my subconscious into Muskoka Woods. I just gotta say 3 things. Number 1, there were some wild things they asked us to do. I remember for a part of a game, they were like, you're gonna eat anchovies with ketchup and crackers as a part of a game, and I was like, I'm gonna barf. I'm gonna literally barf. This is the worst idea ever. Second thing, surprisingly like religious. Now that I think back, like there was prayer night.
Camp.
I didn't get that vibe at all when I went there until I was like, why are we all just sitting down in this room, like listening to this person talk about a book? And I'm like, because I was like, I had no context for it. And then the third one was Absolutely wild that they just had like a place where you could just get, your parents would give you like a little bit of spending money and you could just buy as much candy as you wanted with no restrictions. Tuck shop was key. Anyways, back to the sorry. Yeah, my brain went on like a whole like so I saw so many years of not years, but 2 summers I think of Muskoka Woods flash through my brain.
Yeah, so that's kind of the vibe that she, is now a camp counselor there. And Russ, his story is his dad has a gambling problem and he has distanced himself from his dad because his dad's always asking him for money. And he loves his mom, but his mom is like fully in support of their dad, even though he has this problem and she's, struggling to keep a roof over their head. So he's got some family problems as well. And he is kind of working this summer because he has to, but also because he does not want to go home and be with his parents. He wants to be away. So this is kind of like a great opportunity for him. And like the summary said, they did have a one night stand at a party. And then they she left, even though he really wanted her to stay, but she thought he wanted her to leave. So it was a bit of a miscommunication there. So when they meet up again, sparks are kind of still flying with them, but there's this miscommunication that is making it think that they can't be together. And then when they clear that up, then the rule about them potentially losing their jobs if they hook up is
right, and they both have their own reason for wanting to be here.
Correct. And so that's basically like the main driving plot of the story. There's some cute stories with some kids. There's some cute stories with some side characters that we meet.
Again, it just sounds like a cozy, light a candle, get under a blanket, and just like really tuck into a nice, comfortable book.
Absolutely, yeah.
What would you say is the picante level here? We taught 0 to 5 chilies.
I think I liked the spice better in the first book, just because like this one was constantly like, oh, we're like sneaking around, but it's very romantic. It's a very romantic book, so I'd say probably the same 2 chili peppers, but it is a different feel. It's a different vibe because in the first book.
You're going from like enemies to lovers to like,
but like they're in a relationship, they're committed. There's no reason why they can't be together. And in this book, it's almost like forbidden love.
Oh, okay, a little Romeo.
No, it's not forbidden. It's just they're not supposed to. They do it anyway. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet, except the only people who are enforcing it as an arbitrary set of rules set by a camp.
Exactly, and then like literally when they get caught, there's like pretty. Very nil repercussions.
Yeah,
so.
they're like, okay, guys, like it's in the handbook. Just like keep it to yourselves.
Yeah, keep it quiet, keep it safe.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a really good series. I think Daydreamer is the 3rd book, and it comes out sometime in the future. I pre-ordered it, so I can't wait for that to pop up into my Kindle. I will probably read it as soon as I get it.
Beautiful. All right. Do you have any closing thoughts for this series, or?
I think if it's on your TBR list and you just keep finding other books to read, but this is one that keeps coming up as one that you want to read, just go ahead and read it because you're going to enjoy it. If it's on your list, it's on there for a reason. And if you don't like it, well, sorry, but I think you will.
Beautiful. Well, listener, thank you for joining us for this episode of Hubris. We've really loved having you here. We've already had a good showing of support, even though we barely have any episodes out. I keep looking at our Spotify impressions popping up, and I'm like, every day I wake up, it's a nice little buzz I get at the start of my day. So I just wanted to say thank you. As well, we're going to aim to release episodes every Monday. That's what we're going to aim for. We should be able to manage that. As well, we're probably going to be... I fully lost what I was going to say. So, I just wanted to say, oh yes, if you enjoyed listening to the podcast, give us a follow, leave a comment if you'd like. Reviews are fantastic, it'll help push us up in Spotify because we're going to take this podcast to the top, baby.
I'm just here to talk about my books.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to take those books to the top, baby.
All right, my love.
All right. Well, Jess, hit us with that classic outro that you do every time. Never fails. Always the same.
I have a really nice smelling Bridgerton candle going right now.